silent meeting at the Farmers Institute Meeting House. The two wreaths of dried forsythia sprout yellow silk flowers and hang on the white front door like double suns, crowns of thorns, blooming fire. 105 degrees. The day has broken all heat records. I fumble with the latch, push open the door whose wood is swollen so it sticks, and enter a foyer that leads to one white room. Here are 22 white benches with walnut scroll arms, a harmonium whose foot pedals are covered with worn red, blue, and gold Persian carpet, an upright piano, a lectern, 3 chairs on a raised platform for the meeting's pastor and elders, and 1 small marble-topped table. On it, the big Bible's gilt-edged pages are open to Psalm 119. I read there aloud to the echoing empty room. My soul fainteth for thy salvation. I am become like a bottle in the smoke. What the hell does that simile mean? I think sacrilegiously. Then I remember my dead father, an Episcopal priest, explaining the verse, how the Israelites would hang up their drained goatskin wine bottles in tents smoky from open fires. The leather would dry out and blacken, someone's soul emptied, scorched, soot-smutched from neglect, from being hung from a small tent's ridgepole. I sit down on a white bench on the east side, where the women would have sat, and let the 160-year-old silence of the place enter me. High-ceilinged, the room is cool, fragrant with old wood. The meeting has dwindled to a dozen souls, said Mark Naylor, the man 3 years younger than me, who unlocked the door yesterday to let me in. All meetings rise and fall, he mused, but where 2 or 3 are gathered together, his voice trailed off. I hope we don't have to lay this meeting down. I watch the sunlight filter through tall windows. Most of their 18 panes are clear, but sometimes an old pane warps the view so that the maples and cedars with sky blue berries that shade the meeting house twist sinuous as reflections on moving water. This minute is motion and amazement. I am a quorum of one, but like to imagine I sit here with the whole congregation of the years. The room, silent, is full of men and women who wait upon the Lord. Bud L. Sleeper, whose buckboard, Mark told me, was loaded with firewood and had a false bottom to hide runaway slaves, sits in his dark frock coat at the head of the meeting on the men's side to the west. On the east presides his wife, Elizabeth, who quilted heart and 9 patches, double wedding rings, who boiled 28 pounds of soaked beans and 2 cut-up hams in 2 small butchering kettles for the quarterly meeting, thronged with horses and buggies from Sugar Plain, Darlington, Thorntown, and Vermilion Grove. Great-grandmother, great-grandfather, they rose and set like double suns. They died within 1 year, first he, then she, in 1889. There's still a road called Sleeper Road that cuts the cornfields they used to own half a mile from here. One day, I'll drive it, but not now. I want to wake and stay awake and be woken with fire like the 2 glass kerosene lamps mounted on iron wall brackets by the northernmost windows on either side. Each has a round concave mirror of silver-plated metal behind it to focus the flame, throw light into the center of the room. The glass reservoirs are half full of golden kerosene, into which the wide cotton wicks dip their thirsty tongues. I would be such a light when winter dusk settles in, as it will do 6 months from now. 2 days ago, I read the minutes of the Western Literary Union, grand title for the debate society of students, mostly Quaker, at the Farmers Institute. Indiana farmers built this meeting house and used it first as a school of higher learning, equipped with a new and complete philosophical, chemical, and astronomical apparatus worth $500, according to the 1851 advertisement, together with a new and elegant mannequin of Hyatt manufacture worth $500. They must have used the mannequin for anatomy lessons. The secretary of the Western Literary Union wrote in swirling calligraphy the minutes for the 10th month, 22nd, 1864. The following question adopted for discussion in 1 week. Resolved that there is more true happiness among the poor than the wealthy. The regular exercises were then entered into, which consisted of essays and declamations. W.P. Hollingsworth and John Roop were appointed fire builders and lamp lighters for the term. All through the Civil War, they debated questions like, resolved that Jefferson Davis is a greater tyrant than Tiberius, or resolved the signs of the times indicate a downfall of this republic. The judge decided both questions in favor of the negative. The Quakers wouldn't fight, but kept debating. Resolved that the opossum is more destructive to fowl than the owl. Resolved that the language of all nations should be universal. Resolved that the enjoyment of life increases with age. Resolved that the world is a living animal, and resolved that women should, underscored 3 times, be entitled to all the rights of suffrage. 6. When the judge decided this last question in the negative, there was an uproar. They appealed to the House, and the union's members voted in the affirmative. The silence of this room fills again with the voices of men and women arguing the old, unanswerable questions. Resolved that gracefulness has on the mind a more pleasing effect than beauty, and resolved the imagination is productive of more suffering than real troubles. Of this second question, the secretary wrote, Mary Hollingsworth appointed judge. After quite an interesting discussion, the judge decided in favor of both sides. But the Quakers knew that silence is the end of all our talk. Final, unappealable silence reconciles the dead disputants. I walk over to the harmonium, lift its lid, uncover the keyboard, and above it, lacquered black wood with Packard in gilt Gothic letters and the white porcelain knobs of its 11 stops. They are all labeled. The dulcet bass has been pulled out. I press the keys, try a few chords that make no sound. If I could play, I would choose between the stops. Diapason, dulcet treble, violina, melodia, bass coupler, Celestina. But I love the silence of this meeting room in which I am united with the dead. I add to it the vox humana, my one human voice. Thank you very much.